Alright. So a little bit of a mess. My desk has certainly been kept cleaner. So probably should clean up a little bit just to help straighten. Over. Sorry, there's like neighbor kids screaming outside. Let's see. Yeah, I need to clean up a little bit. I've made a terrible mess. So we'll just give us some space to work, because what we're going to be doing is sticking this sucker down on some of the on a base, and then also patching up any little weird odds and ends that we have. So, hey, the other guy. Let's get the glue gun out of the way. Glue gun's gonna glue down to the base. We'll put it on a wooden base. Super glue is gonna help us fix up some of the cracks. Andromeda, yes, I did. I couldn't find the clicker to open the garage, so unfortunately everything I needed was there. But I was able to get into it, and then of course, after I was able to get into it, I found my clicker. I don't know if you guys ever do this, but if I ever wear a sweatshirt with a pocket, sometimes I will stick stuff into the pocket and you know, forget that I left it there, so it was basically hanging up in the closet. So, kind of an idiot. But for us tonight, I've fired our wither. It's hey, Darkins. So I already ran this through the oven. It's pretty hard. The problem is that when I was detaching it from the base, I did crack it a little bit. So one of the first things we're going to need to do, let me see if I'll switch to this side cam. Bonk. There we go. Hey, RBP. There. So you can see that crack in there, right? So that's got to get fixed first, and then we can move on to mounting, and then oh yeah, you can see how it goes all the way around the back. And then we can start fixing some of the other issues with it. So you can see, like, underneath the chin there's a big gap. There's the gap for the tendons going across the cheek, so you can kind of see right there, so you can see through. So we gotta plug that up, and just in general, probably just clean up any little spots and see if maybe we can possibly polish it down just a little more. So that would be what we're working on. And then for bases, I picked up a few of these guys. I found square ones and round ones. And I also got them in larger sizes, but these ones are too big. So I was thinking it can go on here like this, which this may be a little too big, or got this round guy, which I kind of like. So what do you think? So what will happen is we'll attach it to this, and then when it gets molded, you won't see the difference. You know, it'll all just be one single piece. And then maybe we can build like a little plaque on it or something with the name. Cool? Like that about does it. Oh, fantastic. Alright, so first things first. I'm gonna get my Q-tip because this is probably gonna be we're just gonna glue up those cracks. And we'll plug them a little bit with clay too. but we need it to not drop on the floor. Ugh. I'm rusty. It's been a while. Okay. So, how do we want this? I think that part of the problem too is that the metal pushed away, so I think if I glue that down should help. So let's just get a little glue. And that'll kind of work its way into the crack. I'll just spread it real quick. And press and hold. So how's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for being patient, by the way. I know I've had a few days off. I think it's been a week, right? Just this end of the year sucks. Gets really busy at work. Everybody starts focusing on actually what we're doing next year, so you know, a lot of extra paperwork to do. So I end up getting stuck late. And the problem is too, my boss works late. My boss works really late. So it's kind of rough to duck out when your boss is still there. So Brandon, when I was taking this off of the Lazy Susan to go put it in the oven to fire, just the amount of torque and turning, because the metal wire was attached to the board, so I had to tweak and twist it to get it up. So I think you were the one that made this suggestion early on, right? But like, I really should have mounted it to a block of wood early on, because that would have kept it from having that problem. So lesson learned, right? Why won't you? Doesn't want to stay. Come on now. It is just not wanting to stick. Well, fortunately, it's the only spot that did crack. But all I needed to do is just hold sturdy, and then once it holds together, then we're fine. But for some reason, it does not want to do that. Okay. It's a bit of a pain. I mean, can always just try plugging it with more clay, and then when it gets fired a second time, it may hold up. Maybe it's just not getting in there. Can't overdo it, you know? Yeah, it's something that sucks. You put too much super glue on it, it just doesn't dry. There is a way to actually force super glue to dry, actually. Actually, I'll say actually a few more times. You can force it with baking soda. Sodium bicarbonate reacts with it. So yeah, Brandon, the problem was I taped, like the wire and tape was all right under the block. So I just, trying to wiggle it up to get at it was what the real problem was, you know, and it just tweaked it too much. It was dumb. I should have attached it to a wooden block. Like, now I have a few extra I can do it with for next time, but you know, with how much of a pain in the butt this is being, I may actually go grab some baking soda. I wonder if we even have baking soda. Baking soda feels like one of those things that you always expect to have, but then never have it when you want it. I mean, it shouldn't take that long. I wonder, it could be too that the super glue is just not setting up because of the clay for some reason. Maybe it's reacting with something in it. Yeah, it's just not trying. Hold on, let me go see if I got some baking soda. Alright, I'm back. And surprisingly, actually have baking soda. So we'll try this. And then if this doesn't work, actually, Brandon, that's a fantastic idea. We can do clay in a heat gun. Although my heat gun's out in the garage. So let's just see what we can do with this first. You know, fortunately, we don't really need the worry about the coloring of it because it's going to be molded. So if we discolor the surface at all, it's fine. And I can always wash off the extra baking soda. Oh man, here, this is probably more interesting from this angle. Haven't used that overhead in a while. Hey, Jubak the Whale. Yeah, sorry. So the Minecraft is the Wither. Here. Let's see if you can see. Alright, so did this do anything? Kinda doesn't look like it did. Have I been lied to all these years about baking soda curing? Let's see. Let's see if this even does anything. Supposedly CA glue, or super glue as the brand name is, reacts with baking soda or sodium bicarbonate and supposedly cures instantly. So if you ever run into an issue where you overdo it with super glue, supposedly you can just put baking soda on it and that fixes it. But I'm not seeing that happen. Shouldn't touch it. Like, oh, does it work? I wonder if it could be, I grabbed this out of my glue pot. It's possible that this is just old glue. That's for whatever reason not chemically sound, but it should, yeah, I mean, it did seem like it's set up. Okay, so it does work. So maybe I need to be more liberal with the glue. Okay, so this does work. Hey, Chewbacca, thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I appreciate it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. Instead of trying to press it together and hold it, I'm going to use the super glue to just gap fill, and then we'll apply the baking soda back over the top of it. So we'll just do this so it's in between on the cracks, which is great, and then we'll do this again. So I'm making a mess. Surprisingly, this project has been much messier than I expected. Like all the little, you can see all the little gray specks. That's like everywhere, including the carpet. Oh yeah, and yourself, thanks. Yeah, it certainly has come a long way, I think, since we started. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And yes, Cam, I did frighten some children, actually. I'm thinking about calling that my costume TC for or CT for childhood trauma. It's funny though, because the kids came up to the door, and I of course answered the door like that. I didn't say anything, and you know, it was funny because they all like almost immediately started to retract and like pull back, almost like they're gonna start turning to run. But it's almost like they caught themselves like, oh no, this is you know, Halloween, it's supposed to be like this, and they all sheepishly came up with their hands outstretched for the you know, for the candy. So it was funny. I enjoyed it. Okay, so I don't know if you can actually see, but you can kind of see it actually filled in the gap a bit. So that worked. So we're just going to do it again down on this side, and that should help it hold together. Who knows what happens when we bake it in the oven. Hey Bear Claw, it's inspired by Minecraft. So you're doing a Minecraft wither. So a realistic Minecraft wither. So let's continue that gap fill to fix that crack. And we'll continue to round. There we go. Hey, Frozen. All right. So we'll just do this, get it down into the gap. Now the one thing you have to be careful with using a method like this is if you overdo it and it's all blobbed on around it, then it's going to cake that stuff on too. So the real trick is you want to get the CA glue down into the split, and then add your powder, because it will you know, solidify it pretty quickly. And super glue, or CA glue, super glue, I like to call it CA glue because that's actually what it is, right? It's like Band-Aid and Xerox. Those are actually brand names for things. They're not the actual name of it. You know, a Kleenex is a brand name for tissue, you know, facial tissue. CA glue is the name, and super glue is a brand name of cyanoacrylate glue. So that's why I'm being specific, because I'm pedantic like that. So that seemed like it got it, right? And yeah, wither on a grass block. Nice, glad you recognized the grass block. Tried to go for a little more of a quote-unquote realistic interpretation, as realistic as a non-existent fantasy creature could be. Okay. So, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not wiggling anymore. So I think it worked. And details. So I'll show you the fix up close. Oh, let's see. Did I bake it? Yes, I've already baked it, done our first bake. So this was just enough to harden the coat, and then we'll go back in and fill in some details, fix it up, attach it to the base, and then bake it again. And this is the clay is a polymer clay called Super Sculpt. Specifically, I use the firm for this because you can do more detail in it. You basically just throw it in the oven. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, like an oil clay that never dries, but you can still fire it like an other clay. So you can see, like, I don't know if you can see the fix. You can see in there. I think we got it. And then we'll just bolster it with some clay. Horse costumes turned out pretty well, I think. I put a picture of it up on my Twitter, so if you're bored, you can go back and look at there. Those are the horse bees. And the wife dressed up as a beekeeper, along with the mother-in-law. And I think everybody had fun. It was actually, it was a fun project. Although it did delay me working on my own costume. I know I shouldn't, but I just want to like blow all this off. Yeah, I have like a fine dust of, whatever, nobody will know. Woo! Alright, now I'm blowing Q-tips everywhere. Okay, so next part. I think I'll need to put in the glue gun to start warming up. So the question is, are we going to attach it to the base first, or leave it loose and work on it up close so we don't have to worry about the base flopping around while we're trying to work on it? Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll attach the base towards the end. Alien and Bob, thank you for the follows. Although Bob just... Did Bob take off? Bob, they might have left. Oh well. Either way, thanks for the follows, guys. Okay, so let's get into plugging up the holes. Where is my more firm rubber point? There we go. So I'm going to use a firm rubber point like this. Silicone tipped tool. And we're just going to use this to kind of assess where we need to fix things. First things first, I don't know if you can see here. Can you see that gap under the chin? Right? So if we molded this, this is going to be a problem. So we'll want to like bring that gap out under the lip a little more, just to help prep it for making a mold. Oh yeah, so yeah, now I can actually show you guys what underside looks like. So what happened was you can kind of see the indent of it, but I had the loop of the cable, or the armature wire, like this, and then there was tape actually in between holding it down. So it worked to get us going, but then when I went to go take it off, it was wiggling this, and then the armature wire was around here, so it was a pain in the butt. It was a mistake, which I learned from. So let's start. Trying to see if we can get a good angle for you to look at. There's no real easy way to angle on it, huh? But next time we'll be on a block of wood. So I'm just gonna work with tiny little bits of clay. So did anybody else frighten children for Halloween? It's quite fun. I highly recommend. It's funny, I think my wife was worried that, you know, it'd scare all the Halloween trick-or-treaters off. But I mean, when you're a kid, you expect that kind of stuff, right? If anything, like, scary stuff on Halloween's really cool. And if it's like a 2-year-old, you know, yeah, there's gonna be problems. But then, if you're taking your 2-year-old to strange people's doors, and you probably should be prepared for a few scares. Let's see. There. So for Brandon, the plan to mount it, I was like, literally, I'm just gonna glue gun the sucker down, and then I'm gonna patch the edge with some more clay. It's only really gonna be there for molding it anyway. It doesn't need to be extremely sturdy, so glue will be just fine. The original will always be a little more fragile, but that way, when we make the resin cast of the final one, it'll fully include a base on top of it, and so it can be a single sort of thing. The nice thing is that if I decide that I don't want to make a base included and I just want to actually buy a wooden base or make something a little fancier, I can always just fill the mold up less full, you know, and not fill it to the base part and then mount it to a wood base anyway. Yeah, Cam and Andromeda, I have to agree. We only had one group of trick-or-treaters, and that is actually up from last year for us, which is a bummer. But, you know, I live in an apartment, so I kind of feel like that there's also a neighborhood that's right across the way from us, like on the other side of the street. So, I mean, if I was a kid, I'd go trick-or-treat where there's more likely to be candy than some creepy apartment complex, right? You want to get that target rich environment. Trying to make sure you guys have a good view here. There we go. Yeah, when I was a kid, we used to like. I mean, I also lived in a neighborhood too, so maybe it's. I didn't live in an apartment when I was trick or treating age, so maybe it's a little skewed. But yeah, man, we used to go hit that neighborhood. We'd be out until like midnight. You'd go until doors weren't opening for you anymore. Shih Tzus, come on now. You don't have dogs, you have cats. Let's be honest. Don't get me wrong. I have cats and I love cats. But I don't have dogs that I call, or cats that I pretend are dogs, like Shih Tzus. My sister actually had Shih Tzus, or had, yeah, I don't think anymore, but she's almost always had them. So there you go. German Shepherds. That's a dog. My grandmother actually trained German Shepherds to be attack dogs. Schutzhund. Whatever I think that's the German attack dog training. So you can see here the name of the game is just getting the patch to look reasonably close, and so there's not any serious undercuts. I mean, you can work around the undercuts if you take your time, and it's not dire if there's too much of it, but it certainly helps because that piece will probably rip out at some point. Yeah, that kind of training and stuff is basically what my grandmother did for a while. She doesn't do it anymore. She's up there and retired. But the funny thing is if I remember right, my grandmother's like, I think 4 foot something, like tiny lady, but man, a lot of authority. So I just wet the tip of the tool with a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to help smooth. All right, seems all right. Oops, sorry. Hey, Traystar. Yeah, Brandon, I think it's weird because it seems like people are getting like less social, and something like Halloween where you have like strangers showing up on your door is pretty awkward. But like I said, I made the best of it by trying to frighten children. Okay, let's see. So you can see these undersides here. No, you can't. There you go. So you can see here, like, this shape here, and a lot of this back up under here. Like, that's all needs to be smoothed out just a little bit. We're getting back to some more macro sculpting, so this is a little easier. What do we want? Gotta be careful. Popping a head off at this stage would be disastrous. The nice thing is, though, because you actually have a hard surface underneath, smoothing tool is a little more, or this loop tool can actually work with some of the contours that are already established. So I'm just doing this to help that lip. So Brandon, what do I do at Machinima? I actually work with production. I head up their production department. So all the internal shows that we make, like Inside Gaming, ETC, Realm, Machinima Live, I just oversee the production that goes on there. So it's more of a management kind of job, but like, you know, you got to have people that set up the cameras and, you know, people that edit the shows and do that stuff. So in a big sense, I work with a lot of those guys. I work with the people you don't see. Let's put it that way. I work with the guys that make the show that you don't see a lot on camera. And for Tree Stars, the Sculpt sturdy or fragile? It's actually pretty sturdy at the moment. I mean, I can comfortably rest it and set it on its side, and Sculpey doesn't really get brittle. It's kind of like an extremely hard rubber is the best way to think of it, so it can kind of take a little bit of abuse while we do this. So I'm just patching all these little weird spots. This is actually one of the nice things about Sculpey, is that you can keep adding to it like this, and you can keep refiring it and refiring it and refiring it, and so in some ways you can actually plan that, you know, into your work, that you could create a base shape, like say you made a skeleton and then you wanted to like kind of add a zombie look over the top of it. You could just throw that more clay on top of it and throw it back in, and it'll hold up. So I mean, we could have taken this and thrown it into a mold and just taken it as is and dealt with it, or spent more time on the sculpt trying to make it perfect before firing it once, but there's no specific advantage to doing that really, and it's just kind of lazily wasting time, so we might as well take the time to really plug it up, put it together right. And by doing it in 2 stages, we kind of get the best of both worlds, because it's difficult to get underneath with the way we had it, and I can't put a lot of pressure on the sculpt either. Alright, doesn't look too bad. Now we just need to smooth with some rubbing alcohol. So Brandon, I don't exactly know what a game advisor necessarily would do. Like, production is a very specific type of job that actually isn't specifically related to gaming, right? Television shows, movies, that kind of thing. Like, they have producers and production as well. Production are the people that do the physical labor to make video content. It would be producers, you know. When you go to make a movie, somebody's got to set up the lights, somebody's got to build the sets, somebody's got to do the wiring, somebody's got to get food to feed the staff. Like, there's all those sort of type of work that goes around the media that you actually see, and that's what a production is. If you take a show like The Walking Dead, you know, somebody's got to figure out where all those locations are, how to set up the cameras, how to get the equipment that you need, how to dress the wardrobe, you know, all those sort of other odds and ends of making something is production. And so I do production, but for video game media content, you know. So, you know, I talk about how do we get cameras to shoot inside gaming with, where do we get the lights to shoot inside gaming with, who's going to set up the camera, who's going to set up the lights. So it's not specific to gaming, it just happens to be that the machinima content that we make is related to gaming, but it isn't gaming specific, if that makes sense. So that's why I feel like calling it a game advisor would be, it's not a role that I'm familiar with, but it's also what I do is not actually directly related to gaming in that sense, right? It's not my job function. Does that make any sense? I hope that kind of helped clarify it. And also, sorry, going back to TreeStar and the fragility of this, I wouldn't say it rarely gets fragile. It's just it's pretty sturdy material. I mean, if I tweaked it, I could break it, but it's not as fragile as you would think. Okay, so this is all the area that we just did. I think it looks better. I mean, it's smoother, but that's okay. Okay, so we have another spot right here. Hey, Gene, welcome out from working. And Poot, hello. Good to see you back. Oh, so where can you see some of my work? Well, the work for Machinima, work I've done professionally, that will take you way far back, because I work because I've been working as a manager, I guess, for a while, I haven't done a lot of hands-on stuff in a good long time. So if you go back to Friendly Fire was one of the shows I had, was mine. I used to work on 10 for the Win. It used to be one of the ones I worked on until Steven Larson took it over. I also used to work on ETC. ETC used to be one of my projects. I helped get it off the ground, and I worked as the producer for that one. So if you go to Machinima and you go look at content from a bajillion years ago, you may find some of my stuff. Also, actually, if you want to see some of my early work, the easiest way is go to Machinima Realm and then go back to the very first videos. Anything that was with in-house talent like Hundar and was stuff that I produced way back when. I used to do a series called Grits Vids. Those were mine. I used to do a series called Prologue. I used to do a series called T-. But honestly, all of those have been off the air for years. It's been a while. Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing stuff. I mean, in the YouTube space, you know, I've worked for Machinima for 5 years, and as far as YouTube's concerned, that's, you know, ancient history when it comes to everything that's happened since then. So it's such a different landscape. It's difficult to really even compare the stuff I did then to what's good now. And TreeStar, age is relative. It depends. You know, think of it this way. 30 is probably pretty old to somebody who's 12, but it's probably pretty young to somebody who's 50. So age is relative. And yeah, I'm still thinking about doing a 2-part mold for this. I'm thinking it's the only way to really get it done right. We could try to do a glove mold, but I think with how much of an undercut is here, that it would be way too much of a pain in the butt to try and execute well. Thanks, Frozen. Detail. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, Bruce and Adam doing the AFK stuff. It's not their regular content. I'll just say they would have liked to have done something more in line with their usual. But it was fun. Gosh, how am I going to get clay in on this? I'm trying to figure out how to get at this little... Here, I'll see if we can show you. See? So you see how we made that really nice, cool tendon coming down this thing? This guy? Well, there's a big gap. Damn it, Bob. Get out of the way. Trying to patch that. That's what's a big pain. Face to put to the voice. Let's see. I'm trying to think, where has my face been? I've kind of shied away from the camera on purpose. I actually have my stuff. I mean, I think if you poke through Twitter, you'll find something. Or if you actually look on Harmony Grits, Joel Rubin's Twitter, he posted a picture when I gave him the Necronomicon. That it may be there, if I don't remember exactly. not necessarily trying to avoid it. I just feel it's kind of irrelevant to the work, you know? Promise you, when I get rich and famous and do crafting all the time, I'll exploit my face. Blue eyes indeed. I am blonde hair and blue eyes. I am the master race. My family is like German, Norwegian, Polish, Swedish, you know, just full Northern European. So I wasn't getting away without a bit of fair skin and blonde and blue, the Scandinavian look, you know. Have a good night, Anna Jean. Thank you so much for stopping by. And yeah, Brandon, a 3D printer is actually a goal. I'd love to have one at some point. I don't know, 3D printing itself is not good for casting. But it would be good for me, like printing models to start on. I've actually seen people, like somebody had taken a bunch of skulls and printed them, like a whole sheet of them in small repeated detail, and then made a mold out of those. The problem with the 3D printing is that we'd had to have done all the work in a 3D like software or have this scanned, which, you know, could be a bit difficult. So there's kind of, you know, there's trade-offs to 3D printing. At some point it'll be the magic tool, but for right now it's still got a ways to go. But I absolutely would love to get one. I've always, like, if you go to Home Depot, you can get, you know, you enter a win to like a $5,000 gift card, and I was always like, you know, yeah, it's cool, but geez, what would I get at Home Depot? It's like $5,000. You know, I don't have a house, I don't need a new kitchen. But then they started selling MakerBots, and now I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should just do it to get myself a MakerBot. Hey, thanks, Fat Man. You're very kind. And Frozen, there's nothing wrong with Irish blood, and besides, having fair skin is lauded in many places, so nothing to be ashamed of. My problem is I got basically a whole World War II collaboration going on in the family. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, you got Polish and German. I wonder how that happened. It's like, oh, you know, part of my family is probably the first stop in the war. So Cam, you say you're just Mexican, so you're dark skin and light eyes. That's like ridiculously exotic. There's nothing just about that. Although I guess everybody's exotic based on what your starting point is, right? I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just working under the neck up in here to just sort of patch this up. And then smoothing it out. Looks like we got the cheek okay. Hey, Glorious. So the power glove I made, I actually don't have it here. That was a commissioned piece that I did for Realm, so they have it at the office. For a while there was actually a short while that I was getting people to pay for my stuff, or I should say I was getting the office to pay for it, which is kind of cheating. And Inglorious, thank you. You're kind. So Brandon, what type of foam would you buy if you wanted to make a 3D claptrap out of it? It really depends. If you're talking like a full scale, full size costume, you probably want to go with a foam type that is called L200. It's a closed cell type foam, and you can get it at craft stores, just the letter L and the number 200. I don't know what other brand names of it are. If you're talking like a miniature piece, I would actually suggest maybe trying to find Sintra. It's expanded PVC. It's like the same stuff you make white plastic water pipes out of, but imagine if you foam that up a bit like a sponge, but not like super bubbly, but like almost like a craft foam, and that gives you a really rigid, hard surface that you can cut and work with. Otherwise, if you just want something soft and pliable, you can use craft foam from like Walmart or something and just paint it and reinforce it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll just make Minecraft stuff. Maybe Microsoft will give me some money too. I'll just do Minecraft stuff forever. I'm still playing Minecraft. I don't know about you guys, but I got in on it before there was multiplayer. Yeah, I'm pulling a gaming hipster moment, by the way. Yes, I played Minecraft before it was cool. But I'm still playing it, It's a good game. It's a really good game. It's interesting describing it to people, who still haven't had a chance to come across it, or relatives, or, people maybe a little older. Let's see, where else? We're going to run right back in here. So you see how that's going to be a problem? Hey Mud, that's really kind of you to say. To be fair though, these drawings aren't mine. Those are reference photos I printed out online so I can get the right anatomical model. I am a terrible drawer. Yeah, I know bueno. Even though I went to art school, it was a bit wasted. Come on, get in there. Yeah, see, a lot of this fine detail work with like those tendons that are there, we couldn't really have filled them very easily without destroying them, So this is a pretty necessary step. I'm actually really happy that the super glue thing worked out. Because I thought I was going nuts. I was like trying to get it to harden up and it just wasn't doing it, but then it did work. So that's a really cool idea. You can use super glue to gap fill and then dust it with baking soda to firm it up. Because super glue, CA glue, there's some things that just don't glue together unless you use it. So being able to gap fill like that is actually really helpful for plastics and stuff. I think this is going to catch. I'm looking at his cheek right there. Well, I will certainly try to keep the Minecraft stuff going if that's what people are enjoying. And Andromeda, that's awesome. You'll have to. What's your next project going to be? Dope. And Mud. Yeah, man, Minecraft is just good, clean, creative fun. You know, I actually play with a lot of mods and like tech mods and stuff, so it kind of satisfies the my inner engineer. And pooped on my neighbor's lawn. Propcraft. So I was like, what am I going to call it, right? Because like, I wanted something a bit descriptive. I wanted something a bit catchy, and I was just thinking like, well, how the heck am I going to, what could I do that's prop, what can I name a prop sort of business? And honestly, it was because I was thinking like, wow, Minecraft, StarCraft, Minecraft, Warcraft. Oh, well, I had two props, Propcraft. It wasn't taken, and it just, kind of seemed catchy, and it was just, just kind of like that. I just wanted something that was catchy. And then if I ever wanted to, roll it into a business or something like that, I could, if it didn't exist in other forms, then it would make it easier to, copyright and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's not entirely exciting, but that's how Propcraft came to be. Hey, CG loading? CG loading? Welcome, and all does well. Ah, Switzerland. That is wonderful. How's it going, Blacksteel? We're international. See? Propcraft around the world. Or if you want to be really lazy about it, is like, what do you do? Well, your company's, what's your company or your business called? Well, it's called Propcraft. It's like, well, what do you do? Oh, I craft props. Propcraft crafts props. Could be my slogan. Yep, sorry guys. So do I sell or do any commission work? Yes, I do, actually. It's been a while since I have, but I am planning on selling copies of this. I'll be making a mold, which will take a little bit because it's been a while. I actually am going to have to order supplies for the mold, and I should do that soon. And the first viable mold that comes out will actually give away to a follower. So if you are not following, please follow, and then that way when it comes time for the giveaway, you will be eligible. Although this is a just for fun giveaway, it's not official, so there are no official rules that apply, yada yada yada. I just give it to you because you are a friend. And yeah, I'll ship international and stuff too, so nobody's gonna get screwed out of the option. It always sucks when you're like, yeah, you're only eligible if you're in the US. Oh, that'd be awesome. Pooped? All are welcome. We have quite a few of OG Aristotle's crew rolling in here a while back. And book from Hocus Pocus. Oh, that's fantastic. What materials are you thinking of using? Maybe I should do it this way. It'll probably make more sense. Hey, bowls are functional. This isn't functional. It's just gonna sit on a shelf. And Brandon, yeah, I will sign for sure. We'll make some indication that it's a special one. So I gotta fix these ridges. I don't know if you can see them. He's got little lips under his eyelids. Well, Mud and Black Steel, thank you both for your follows. I appreciate it. Well, that's good. Yeah, Andromeda, the latex for a book cover, like it just works super duper duper well, and you know, you can find all that stuff at like a local hobby store. It turned out well. You know what the really weird thing is after I made, you know, painted that book, and you know, you guys saw it was like toxic chemicals. I was using rubber cement and camp fluid to paint it with, and oil paints, and then after dusting it, weirdly enough, it turned out smelling like leather. You know, it was not expected. Like, so if you actually smell the book, and yes, I smelled the book, it has a very much smells like actual leather. So I meant to do that. There we go. It's a little better. Yeah, Frozen's the speaker of Propcraft. She helps pick up my slack. Oh yeah, Frozen's got the special name because she's important. She helps keep the rabble in line. Alright, let's get under here, come on. It gets so rowdy in here, you know. Actually, everybody's usually really cool. It's more of a thank you. There we go. We'll fix the divots underneath. I don't know if you can see now. Much better. Just looked unfinished. You know? So where else? All right. Just kind of keeping an eye for problem areas, undercuts, blatantly unfinished stuff. His nose might be a little bit of a problem. This one's okay. His is okay. Oops, hold on, I dropped something. Yeah, we'll probably want to plug a little in there. Doing a little bit of a reverse lobotomy on muffins here. So how long do I spend on something like this? It really depends, but I think we started this almost a month ago, and then a couple hours a night. But, you know, stuff like this takes probably, I'd say like 30 to 40 hours. I mean, like if I made it a full-time job, I'd probably rip through this and get it done and put out in a week. But having, you know, doing it in spare time and off time is obviously taking a bit longer. You know, that's a little too filled up. You know, definitely stated that I will be gladly do this as a full-time gig if it was an option. There we go. So just shallowed the nose a little bit, because otherwise it'll be a problem molding it. Okay. This is okay here. Jaws should be okay. It should all be okay. This will be okay. All right, let me get my glue gun set up. Hold on. Give me just a sec. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna plug it in. Okay, I'm back. So we just gotta wait for this sucker to heat up. And then I think we'll go with the round base. All right. So one downside for glue guns, they take a while. I should have started doing this earlier. This is what I'm thinking. So we'll attach it down like this. And then I'll fill in these gaps with some clay as well. And then the whole thing will get fired in the oven again. And I may or may not coat it with a clear coat. I don't know. Still deciding. I think I probably should though. Yeah, California, specifically US, Southern California, if you really want to be specific. Sorry, I'm just waiting for this glue gun to warm up. There we go. So gluing's done. That was pretty easy. And then I used a little bit of compressed air just to help cool the glue down faster. Oh yeah, the weather's been a little weird. We had rained on Halloween and then got super cold over the weekend, like getting down into the 40s Fahrenheit at night, and then now it's back up, yeah, in the 80s today. So that's California for you. It's kind of honestly pretty normal for our weather to be wonky. Oh, sweet. Love that we got some Germans. We got some Germans, we got some Swedes in here too. Brilliant. I think we have some Aussies from time to time. It's great. It's absolutely great. Use this tool. So this is going to be important that there isn't a lip around the bottom. Otherwise I'll mess it up. There it is. That would actually be fine if it was still raining some more. We actually need it. California is in a very severe drought. It is pretty bad. Well, we'll gladly take the rain back if you want to send it back. Come on. It's getting better. Just help filling in those gaps. Right. So if the glue inside melts down, it's fine, because really we just want to have a good flat surface to it, and then I can always reattach it if needed. But this should hold to the base pretty well, and we only would need to do like a real quick 15-minute heat too, because we're not going really solid down into a lot of the block. We're just doing a lot of surface fixes, so just a real fast little short time in the oven should do it just fine. Sorry, trying to keep my hands out of the way. There we go. Hey, see, Texas. Texas is like a state, or is a country in its own right. What part of Texas? this is actually sealing up pretty nice. Not as difficult as I had expected, which is great. And then once we do a lap around, seal it down, then we'll smooth it out with some rubbing alcohol, and that will close up the base pretty nicely, and then we'll be ready to fire. And then once it's fired, then we'll decide on if we want to do a finishing pass or something to smooth it. Alright, this one's being a pain. Come on, stick. Let me see if I can drag the camera a little more back here. Do this. The stream says hello. She says hello. Alright. Last side. Oh, sorry, for anybody just jumping in, we are making a realistic Minecraft wither. Sorry, I forget that, we have people coming in and out, and we gotta make sure to keep coming back, so I've been working on this for a little bit, and he is on a Minecraft dirt block, and we're just finishing attaching the whole piece to the base. Let's get that down there. All right. Just mash it in. Okay, so that gets it sealed up, and now we'll just go on to the smoothing. And we're just using rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol works really well for smoothing Sculpey. We just want to help kind of get rid of any specific line that stands out. So far, so good. Wow, good on the time too. We're just going to be wrapping up right at the right time. Get this little bump on the side. There we go. And the one big side here. Beautiful. Okay. I think that seals it up on the base. Great. So you can see, got a nice good contact with the base. And we are good, and it's pretty well attached. We fixed the crack around the middle, which is good. I don't really see any problems with it. And there we go. That seems to be where we're going with the Minecraft Wither Sculpt. So next steps from here are going to be firing another run through the oven to help seal, harden any of the spots that we just added tonight. And then I may throw a gloss coat on top of it. So both of those things will probably happen off camera because I can't really do them on camera. And then we'll start building the mold for it. So I do need to order the mold supplies to do that, and then we got to decide how we're going to mold it. So there may be another detail step. It's possible Friday we'll actually do another detail step and maybe add some more to it. Maybe add a little plaque down in the front, something a little more descriptive. I still feel it's a little plain down here in this area. Could be more. Something to think about in the time. But on that note, anytime now. There we go. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. If you haven't had a chance to follow already, please do. We'll be giving away a copy of this once it's all done, and so one of the followers will absolutely get their very own Minecraft Wither Sculpt. If you haven't already followed me on Twitter, you can find links to Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube below. And if you want to catch up on any of the content that we've done since then, I upload every stream to YouTube as soon as it's done. So you can always check back and see what we did before and check out the last projects and anything that you like. So thank you again, everybody, for coming into the stream, and we will continue Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific. No, wait, 9? Yes, we do 9. 9 Pacific Standard Time. Night, guys.